For Shiva Mahapurana, introduction. First of all, sage Shaunak expressed his desire to Sutha about knowing the means, which could help a man in this era of Kali to attainment Lord Shiva, by cleansing all the impurities of his mind and rectifying his inherent demonic tendencies. Sutha then described about Shiva Mahapurana, the supreme of all the Puranas, which was narrated by Lord Shiva himself and which was later on retold by sage Vyasa with the permission of Maharshi Sanat Kumar, for the benediction of common man. Sutha said, by understanding the mysteries of Shiv Mahapurana and singing its praises, a man attains greater virtues than that which could be attained by being charitable or by the performance of all the yajnas. Contemplating on the subject matters of Shiva Mahapurana give auspicious fruits, just like a kalpataru, a mythological tree which fulfills all the wishes. Shiv Mahapurana contains 24,000 shlokas and 7 sanhitas, which are Videshwar, Rudra, Shatrura, Koti Rudra, Uma, Kailash, and Vaivya. Shiva Mahapurana is the best means for man's liberation. Proper method of listening to Shiva Purana. Sage Shaunak requested Sutha to tell about the proper method of listening to Shiva Purana, so that the mankind gets complete benefit. Sutha replied, first of all, an auspicious moment should be determined by an astrologer. After that, friends and relatives should be invited, especially those who have the tendency of being away from such occasion. The sages and the virtuous people should be invited too. The katha must be held in scared places like Shiva temple, any place of pilgrimage, or in one's home after doing a bhume pujan of the land where one intends to hold the katha of Shiva Purana. The canopy should be well decorated. After making a resolution and doing worship of Ganpati, the destroyer of all hurdles and obstacles, the katha should be commenced. The person who is telling the katha should be facing north and all the listeners should sit facing east. The person who is telling the katha should be a scholar and should be capable of clearing all the doubts from the listener's mind. There should be no kind of distraction during the katha period. A devotee who listens to the katha leaving behind all of his worldly worries get complete benefits. A devotee should also make donations and offerings according to his capacity and capability, otherwise he would become a wretched man. The mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, should be chanted throughout the period of katha. An uninitiated person does not have the right to listen to the katha of Shiva Mahapurana. So a man desirous of listening to Shiva Mahapurana should first get initiated. A devotee who has taken the vow of listening to the katha of Shiva Mahapurana should follow a celibate life. He should sleep on the floor and should have only fruits in the diet. He can have his normal dinner only after the completion of the katha. The diet should be fresh and pure. He should also try to avoid sinful tendencies like lust, anger, greed, attachment and condemning other, etc. Making donations of even meager things give undiminishing virtues. After the methodical completion of the katha, a devotee should perform udyapan, conclusion of the katha, which is similar to the Chaturdashi udyapan. The devotee should also charitably make donations to all the Brahmins who have helped in the performance of katha. On the next day the path of Shiva Gita should be performed. If the devotee, listener of the katha, is a householder's, then he should perform havan with the ghee prepared from cow's milk, for the pacification of the unhindered completion of the katha. The havan should be performed either with the help of Rudra Sanhita mantras or Gayatri mantra, or with the shlokas of Purana. Part 1 Videshwar Sanhita Sages inquire. Videshwar Sanhita, which is classified into 25 chapters, has a narration in its first chapter which goes as follows. Once upon a time, the sages were performing a yagya at Prayag Kshetra. Sage Sutha came to know about this and arrived there. All the sages were very pleased to see him. They requested, "Lord, though we have heard many tales from you regarding the man's benediction, but today we want to listen to something special. Because in this present era of Kali, when all the castes have forgotten about their respective duties, we want to know, is there any way to prevent the deterioration in the human values?" Sutha replied, "O great men, your inquiry has great relevance in this era of Kali. I will certainly tell you about the way by the help of which a man can achieve benediction." Shiva Mahapurana contains the essence of Vedantic philosophy, which gives worldly pleasures as well as salvation. Mere remembrance of it destroys all the sins of a man. One who studies the Rudra Sanhita attentively, his gravest of sins are destroyed instantaneously. One who studies Rudra Sanhita silently, sitting in front of Varavidal, all of his aspirations are fulfilled. A man gets liberated from the sin of killing a Brahman, if he studies Rudra Sanhita while circumambulating around a banyan tree. Kailash Sanhita is even superior than Rudra Sanhita, as it elaborates upon the meaning of Omkar. Shiva Mahapurana is created by Lord Shiva himself. It contains 12 Sanhitas which are Videshwar, Rudra, Vinayak, Uma, Maitri, Eklashrudra, Kailash, Shatrudra, Kotirudra, Sahasrakoti, Vayavya and Dharm. Initially it contained 1 lakh shlokas, but it was precised to 24,000 shlokas by sage Vyasa. The present Shiva Purana is the 4th one, which consists of 7 Sanhitas. The earlier 3 Shiva Puranas are unavailable. The scientific analysis of the Vedantic mysteries are the main subject of this divine Shiva Purana. The study of Shiva Purana helps a man to attain dharma, artha, kam and moksha. Sutha continued with his narration. During the initial period of Swetvara Kalpa, 6 prominent sages collected near Triveni and started debating as to who was the greatest deity among Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Their debate remained inconclusive, so they went to Lord Brahma to seek the answer. Lord Brahma told them, "O revered sages, the source of Vishnu, Rudra, all the deities including myself and all the other creations is none other Mahadev. Union with the Shiva should be the objective of a man to attain that objective. Listening to the qualities of Lord Shiva, singing devotional songs in his praise and contemplating on him are the greatest means, which help to unite with Shiva. Purification of the mind by the help of doing worship and chanting the name of God is called contemplation. Singing devotional songs in the form of stotra, or hymns of the Vedas, or even in one's own language is called kirtan. The above mentioned 3 activities are the supreme means to attain liberation. Greatness of Shiva Linga, pillar of fire Omkar. According to Sutha, if a person is incapable of following the above mentioned 3 activities, i.e. Shravana, Kirtan and Manan, then he should worship the Shiva Linga. Even by doing this he can attain liberation from all the bondages of the world. Describing about the majesty of Shiva Linga, Sutha says, Lord Shiva is the manifestation of Almighty God, Brahma, himself, and for this very reason he is known as Nishkal. Because of his divine beauty, Shiva is called Saguna, God with form. The term Saguna is also expressed in another way, that is skull. Shiva Linga is worshipped since it symbolizes the form of Shiva. Lord Shiva is also considered to be nirguna, without any qualities. In the first kalpa of Shvetavara, a battle was fought between Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu to prove their superiority. Lord Shiva manifested before arrogance. After that he also showed them his form in the shape of Shiva Linga. From that day onwards the Shiva Linga became famous. Nandayakshwarji narrates the tale of battle between Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu. Once while travelling, Lord Brahma reached the abode of Lord Vishnu. He saw Lord Vishnu. He saw Lord Vishnu resting on Sheshnag and being attended by Garuda and other attendants. When Brahma saw that Vishnu did not get up to receive him, he became very angry. Very soon, verbal duel erupted between them. It became so severe that a battle was fought between them, which continued for very long time. All the deities arrived from the heaven to watch the battle. They became very worried when they saw no sign of battle coming to an end. They decided to go to Lord Shiva, to seek his help. Though Lord Shiva knew everything, but still feigning ignorance, he asked about the well-beings of the world. The deities told him about the battle fought between Brahma and Vishnu. Lord Shiva then sent his 100 Ganas to pacify both of them. He too went there accompanied by Mother Parvati, boarded on a chariot. When Lord Shiva reached there, he saw that Brahma and Vishnu were about to use their deadly weapons Maheshwar and Pashupat respectively. Fearing the destruction, which these deadly weapons might have caused, Lord Shiva manifested himself in the form of Analstamba, pillar of fire, between them. Brahma and Vishnu had already released their weapons Maheshwar and Pashupat. Both the weapons fell into that pillar of fire and got destroyed. Brahma and Vishnu were very surprised to see the pillar of fire, which was so enormous in size that it reached the sky and penetrated down the earth. Vishnu transformed himself into a boar and went to the Patal, nether world, to find the base of that pillar of fire. But he was unsuccessful in his attempt and came back. Similarly, Brahma transformed himself into a swan and flew up in the sky to find its limit. While going through the aerial route, he met a withered ketki flowers, which had still some freshness and fragrance left in it. Lord Shiva smiled at the futile attempts of Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu. As a result of his smile, the ketki flower fell down from the branch. Ketki flower told Brahma that he had been present there since the beginning of the creation, but was unable to know about the origin of that pillar of fire. The flower also advised Brahma against making any effort in that direction, as it would be of no use. Brahma then sought the help of Ketki flower to give a false witness before Lord Vishnu, that he, Brahma, had been successful in seeing the limit of that pillar of fire. Ketki flower agreed. Both of them went to Vishnu and Brahma told him that he had seen the limit of that pillar of fire. Ketki flower gave a witness. Vishnu accepted the superiority of Brahma. Lord Shiva became very angry with Brahma. He proceeded to punish Brahma for his falsehood. Lord Vishnu requested Lord Shiva to spare the life of Brahma. Lord Shiva became pleased with Vishnu and accorded him the same status as that of his own. Nandayakshvar, continuing with the tale, said, after according same status to Vishnu as that of his own, Lord Shiva opened his third eye, from it manifested Bhairav. He ordered Bhairav to kill Brahma. Bhairav severed the fifth head of Lord Brahma with his sword. Brahma became very terrified. He was trembling in fear. Lord Vishnu felt pity on his condition and requested Lord Shiva to forgive him. Lord Shiva then stopped Bhairav, but told Brahma, "You spoke untruth with a desire to become worshipable. It is my curse that you will not be worshipped by anybody. You will possess only 4 heads. Brahma begged his forgiveness. Lord Shiva, feeling pity on Brahma, gave him a boon of being the presiding deity of all the yajna. Similarly, the ketki flower also prohibited from being used during worship. But when ketki flower tendered his apology, Shiva gave blessing that it would be fortunate to be offered to Lord Vishnu during the worship. Lord Vishnu and Brahma made salutations to Lord Shiva and offered him a seat. They then worshipped him. This was the first time Brahma and Vishnu had worshipped Lord Shiva. Shiva was very pleased. Shivratri has been continued to be celebrated since that day. This particular day is considered to be the most auspicious day for the worship of Lord Shiva. A devotee who fasts on Shivratri, remaining only on fruits, attain virtues equivalent to the worship done for the whole year. The idol of Shiva is consecrated on this day. Lord Shiva has himself told the deities that he had manifested in the form of pillar of fire, in the month of Agnya and during the constellation of Ardra. He also said, "One who has my darshan on this day, Shivratri, or worships me in my form of Linga, is dearer to me than Kartikeya. The place where I manifested in the form of pillar of fire will become famous as Lingasthan. Because of its resemblance with the mountain of fire, it will also be known Arunachal." Later on, Shiva brought back to life all the people who had died in the battle fought between Brahma and Vishnu. Lord Shiva then preached Brahma and Vishnu on the 5 duties, Panchakritya, saying that Shrishti, creation, Sthiti, position, Samha, annihilation, Tirobhav, concealment, and Anugrah, obligation or kindness, are the 5 duties by which this world functions. The source of this world in saga, or nature. The establishment of this world is sthiti, or position. The tendency of this world to destroy is samhar, or destruction. The feeling of absence of this world is thirobhav, or concealment, and moksha or salvation is obligation or anugrah. Lord Shiva then goes on to explain that the first 4 duties like saga, nature, etc. help in the nurturement of the world, and the 5th duty anugrah is a giver of salvation. Lord Shiva also told them, Brahma and Vishnu, that he, Shiva, had blessed both of them to look after the 2 duties, i.e. Shrishti and Sthiti. Rudra and Mahesh have been entrusted with the job of Sanha and Tiribhav. The 5th duty, Anugrah, has been kept by me, said Shiva. After describing about the allocation of various duties, Lord Shiva described the meaning of Omkar to them. He said that Omkar signified the world and contained the power of Shiva and Shakti. This powerful mantra gives all kinds of worldly accomplishment as well as salvation. After that, Lord Shiva initiated Brahma and Vishnu with the Omkar mantra and preached them on the importance of the worship of Shiva Linga. Rituals of the worship of Shiva, sacred pilgrimages on the request of the sages. Sutta describes about the methods of worshipping Shiva Linga. He says, one should construct a Shiva Linga either of mud, rock or metal and establish it in such a place where it can be worshipped daily without any hindrance. The mobile ling should be small in size and the sthira, fixed, ling should be large. The ling should be constructed along with the pedestal. The rule for constructing a Shiva Linga has been specifically described. The breadth of thickness of the ling should be 12 times the thickness of the devotees, one who is constructing the ling, finger, while the length should be 25 times. After establishing the ling in the above mentioned way, it should be worshipped after performing the Sholasopchar. The thumb also symbolizes a Shiva Linga and its worship can be done. While worshipping the Shiva Linga, The mantra Om Namah Shivaya should be continuously chanted. Chanting this mantra for 5 crore times helps a man in attaining to the abode of Shiva. Worship of Shiva done during the midnight is considered to be especially fructifying. There are numerous places of pilgrimages connected with Shiva at the banks of river Ganges and river Indus. River Saraswati is considered to be a sacrosanct river, and having an opportunity of living at its banks helps in attaining to the abode of Brahma. Similarly, there are famous temples of Lord Shiva at Kashi, Naimisharanya, Badrikasharama and Kedar etc. There are many temples of Shiva at the banks of holy river like Ganges, Yamuna, Saraswati, Godavari, Narmada, Kaveri, Sarayu, Tungabhadra etc. Worshipping Shiva at these places bestows undiminishing virtues and liberates a man from all of his sins. Conduct of the respective castes. Term on the request of the sages, Sutta described about the virtuous and invirtuous activities of a man according to the respective castes he belongs to. He said, a Brahman who performs the rituals, as described in the Vedas, only is entitled to be called Advaita. A Brahman who is not that proficient in the Vedas is called a Kshatriya Brahman. A Brahman engaged in agricultural activities and business is called a Vaishya Brahman. A Brahman who is in the habit of condemning and criticizing others is called a Shudra Brahman. A Kshatriya who looks after the welfare of his subjects is called a king, while the rest of them are known as simply Kshatriya. A Kshatriya who indulges in business is called a Vaishya Kshatriya. Similarly, a Kshatriya who engages himself in the service of the 3 superior castes, Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya, is called a Shudra Kshatriya. Dharma is considered to be of 2 types. 1. Dharma performed by matter and materials. 2. Dharma performed by indulging in physical activities. The performance of yajna etc. comes in the first category. Making pilgrimages of holy places comes in the second category. During the Satya Yuga, meditation was the way to attain self-knowledge. During Treta Yuga, it was attained by penance. During Dwapar Yuga it was attained by performing yajna, while in the present era of Kali Yuga, idol worship is considered to be the means to achieve self-realization. Invirtuosity invites sorrow while virtuosity bestows joy and happiness. The importance of Agni Yajna. The sages then asked Sutta about the Agni Yajna, Brahma Yajna, and Guru Puja in order of importance. Sutta said, performing Havan by offering matter and materials into the sacred fire is called Agni Yajna. This ritual is especially meant for the brahmachari, celibates. Performing Havana during the evening time brings prosperity, while performance of Havana during the morning times gives long life. Making sacrifices to the deities during the daytime is called Deva Yajna. A Brahman should perform Brahma Yajna with the help of the study of the Vedas. First of all, Lord Shiva adopted an auspicious day for himself and named it Sunday. After that he named the 6 remaining days of the week and attributed them to the following deities respectively: Monday, Durga; Tuesday, Skanda; Wednesday, Vishnu; Thursday, Yam; Friday, Brahma; and Saturday, Indra. Worshipping the deities on their respective days give peace, prosperity, and all kinds of accomplishments. Appropriate place and time for worshipping Shiva. In the Vidyeshwar Sanhita of Shiva Purana, describing about the importance of place and time for worship of Shiva, says, worshipping Shiva at a pure place in a house gives appropriate fruits, while worship done in a cowshed gives virtue, which are 10 times more than the former one. Worshipping Shiva at the banks of a river gives 10 times more virtues than the second one. Worship of Shiva done either in temple, under the basil plant etc. or at the banks of sapped Ganga, gives 10 times more virtue than the third one. If Shiva is worshipped at the seashore than the fourth one, while worshipping Shiva on the peak of a mountain, gives 10 times more virtue than the fifth one. But worship done with a fully concentrates mind, gives the best fruits. During the Satya Yuga, performance of yajna and donations gave complete results. During the Treta Yuga it gave half, while in the present Kali Yuga it gives 1/4 results. Virtuosity performed with a pure heart does not go in vain. The other auspicious days in order of their increasing importance are Surya Sankranti, Tula Sankranti and Mesh Sankranti, lunar eclipse and solar eclipse respectively. Worshipping the idol of Shiva. It has been mentioned in the 16th chapter of Vidishwar Sanhita that all the desires of a man are completely fulfilled, if he worship even in earthen idol of Shiva. For making an idol of Shiva, clay should be acquired from the base of river, pond, well or any such other place. In this clay fragrant powder and milk should be added to make it into a paste. After the constructing of idol is complete, it should be worshipped by all the 16 types of rituals Sholasopchar. If the Shiva Linga is constructed by somebody else, then 3 sera of Navedya should be offered to the deity, whereas if one himself has constructed the Shiva Linga, then the 1/4 of a sera should be offered. If such an idol is worshipped for 1000 times, then it helps a devotee in attaining to the Satyalok. Performing abhishek of such an idol helps in self-purification, offering fragrance gives virtues, Navedya increases the lifespan and worshipping it with dhup gives wealth and prosperity respectively. Worshipping the idol with a burning lamp gives knowledge to the devotee, whereas offering betel leaves gives splendors. A devotee who worships Lord Shiva in the Hindu month of Magh and on Krishna Chaturdashi achieves longevity of life. Both worldly pleasures and salvation are achieved by worshipping Shiva. Worshipping Shiva in the Hindu month of Kartik by going japa, penance etc. gives special fruits and the devotee becomes free from all kinds of diseases. If a devotee worships Lord Shiva on Sunday, he becomes free from rebirth. The majesty of Pranav Panchakshar, the root sounds Aka, Okar, Maka, Bindu and Nad, which are free from the delusions and which originates from the mother nature, are called Pranav. It is of 2 types, A. gross, B. subtle. Pranav mantra Om and Om Namah Shivaya. It symbolizes the unified power of Shiva and Shakti and destroys all the sins of a man. A man desirous of worldly pleasures must chant the mantra, Hrishva Pranav, containing the 3 root sounds A, U, and Ma, which symbolize Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh respectively. On the other hand, a man aspiring for the salvation must chant the mantra, Dirgha Pranav, containing A, U, Ma, Nad and Bindu. Before commencing the study of Vedas, pronouncing Omkar is a must. By chanting Pranav for 9 crore times, man becomes pure. By chanting it for further 9 crore times, a man develops a control over natural forces like wind, smell and earth etc. This Pranav mantra is considered to be most powerful and helps a man to attain the abode of Shiva. Worldly bondages and salvation. In the 18th chapter, all the sages requested Sutha to explain the meaning of bondages of life and salvation. Sutha replied, because of the 8 types of bondages which a man feels on this earth, the soul is also known as Jiva. The Jiva becomes liberated only after becoming free from these 8 bondages. These 8 bondages are nature, intelligence, qualitative ego and the Panchatanmatras, i.e. sound, touch, appearance, taste and smell. Each soul is bounded by these 8 aspects of the nature. The actions performed as the result of these bondages is called karma. A man reaps the fruits of his actions, whether good or evil. He either enjoys pleasures or suffers because of sorrow, due to this karma. The soul takes rebirth in a cyclic was bounded by the effects of his karmas. The 8 chakra are nothing but the 8 forms of the nature. Shiva is beyond the reach of these 8 chakras. On the contrary, he has full control these 8 chakras. So a man can become free from the bondages of this world only by worshipping Shiva Linga. The ling is both gross as well as subtle. There are 5 types of ling on this earth. Swayambhu ling, Bindu ling, Pratisthit ling, Char ling, Guru ling. A person desirous of worldly pleasures should worship the cross Shiva Linga, whereas one who is desirous of attaining salvation must worship the subtle Shiva Linga. The worship of Parthiva Ling Sutta then explains the greatness of worshipping a Parthiva Ling. Parthiva Ling is the most supreme among all the Shiva Lingas. All the aspersions of he deities as well as men are fulfilled by the worship of Parthiv Ling. During the era of Satya, jewel was considered to be of prime importance, whereas during Treta Yuga and Dwapar Yuga, gold and mercury had the prime importance respectively. In the present era of Kali, a Parthiva Ling holds this place of honor. The worship of Parthiva Ling begets more virtues than even penance. Just as Ganga among the rivers, Kashi among the sacred places of pilgrimages, Omkar among all the mantras are considered to be superior. In the same way Parthivlinga is considered to the supreme among all the ling. Worshipping a Parthiva Ling with a Nishkam Bhav helps a man to attain liberation. Sutta elaborately describes about the methods of doing worship of Parthiva Ling. After becoming fresh in the morning, a man should wear a Rudraksha garland in his neck and apply bhasma, ash, on his forehead. He should then worship the Parthiva Ling. He should chant the various names of Shiva, while worshipping the Parthiva Ling, like her, Maheshwar, Shambhu, Shulpani, Mahadev, etc. After worshipping the Parthiva Ling, it should be immersed in the river. Then the mantra, Om Namah Shivaya should be chanted with complete devotion. This is the method which has been described in the Vedas for the worship of Parthiva Ling. The numbers of Parthiva Ling differ according to one's desires. For example, a man who is desirous of learning and knowledge must worship 1000 Parthiva Ling. A man who is desirous of wealth must worship 1500 Parthiva Lingas. A man who is desirous of attaining salvation must worship 1 crore Parthiva Lingas. Parthiva Ling, which is equivalent to the height measured by the 4 fingers and which has been established on a beautiful pedestal, is considered to be the best. Parthiva Ling, which is the half of the above mentioned height, is considered to be medium, and still half then the second category is considered to be inferior Parthiva Ling. It is better and advisable to worship a single Parthiva Ling daily, because it is equivalent to the worship of the whole world. Nobody is barred from worshipping Shiva, except the people whose ancestors had been cursed by the sages like Dadichi, Gautam. Such people should also worship the 8 idols, earth, water, fire, air, sky, sun, moon and the host, along with the Parthiva Ling. A Brahman should worship Parthiva Ling as per the methods described in the Vedas. Worship should be done facing north. Importance of Naivedya and Bilva leaves. Sutta then described about the importance of Naivedya offered to Lord Shiva. A devotee gets liberated from all of his sins merely at the sight of the Naivedya. which have been offered to Lord Shiva. He attains great virtues by having the prasada. A man must not accept the prasada if the worship have been done under supervision of a Chandala, but some of the Shiva Lingas like Banlinga, Siddhalinga and Swayambhu Ling are exceptions to this rule. The prasada which has been offered to the Shiva Linga and remains lying on it, is prohibited from having, but the prasad which is not touching the Shiva Linga should be accepted. Bilva fruit is considered to be a form of Lord Shiva. Its greatness has been eulogized even by the deities himself. It is believed that all the places of pilgrimages dwell in the Bilva leaf. Lord Shiva is believed to have his abode in the roots of the Bilva tree. A devotee who waters the roots of the Bilva tree attains greater virtues than offering water to the deities of all the places of pilgrimages. Similarly, a devotee who worships the roots of the Bilva tree attains to the abode of Lord Shiva. Sutta then goes on. He explained the greatness of Shiva's name and the importance of bhasma, ash, and Rudraksha beads in his worship. The name of Shiva is as sacred as Ganges. Similarly, bhasma and Rudraksha are as holy as the rivers Yamuna and Saraswati. Therefore, a devotee who possesses the name of Lord Shiva on his lips, who applies bhasma on his person and who wears a Rudraksha in his neck attain the virtues similar to that of taking a bath in the Sangam. In ancient times, a king by the name of Indrayumna got liberated from the bondages of the world, just by chanting the name of Shiva. The importance of bhasma, ash, in Shiva's worship. Bhasma are of two types, 1. Mahabhasma and 2. Svlapa bhasma. Shrota, listener, smart, writes according to the Smritis, and Lokik, worldly, are considered to be the Mahabhasma. There are many types of Svlapa bhasma. Shrota and smart are meant only for the Brahmins. For the rest of the castes, Lokik bhasma is appropriate. A Brahman must apply bhasma only after initiating it with the mantras. The ashes which remains after burning dry cow dung is called Agnya bhasma. Applying tripunda on the forehead with the ashes after the completion of yagya is to the Upanishad rituals like Sanjaya and Japa should only be performed after applying tripunda on the forehead. Importance of Rudraksha. Rudraksha is very dear to Lord Shiva and hence all the sins of a man get destroyed if he chants the name of Lord Shiva using a Rudraksha beads. He also attains salvation after his death. It is believed that the origin of Rudraksha is connected with Shiva penance. Once while Sadashiv was performing his penance, his eyes opened due to some disturbances. He was so remorseful that tears rolled down from his eyes. These teardrops are believed to be the origin of the Rudraksha trees. Rudraksha of specific colors have been prescribed for different castes. For example, a Brahman, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya and a Shudra have been instructed to put on Rudraksha of white color, red color, yellow color and black color respectively. A person who wears 1100 Rudraksha on his body, he unites with Shiva. Rudrakshas are of various types, i.e. Ekmukha Rudraksha, 1 opening, to Rudraksha with 14 openings. Each type of Rudraksha has specific mantra and specific deity connected with it. Shrishtikant Part 2 Rudra Sanhita. The sages express their desire of knowing about the manifestation of Shiva and Uma, their marriage and their life as a householder and the other aspects of Shiva's divinity. Sutta narrated the story of Narada's attachment and lust, how they were ultimately destroyed. He also narrated of Narada's deep desire to know about Shiva. Victory of Narada over Kama. Once upon a time a Narada was performing a penance in the cave of Himalaya mountain. Indra, becoming fearful, sent Kamdev to obstruct his penance. But Kamdeva was unsuccessful in his attempt, as the place where Narada was doing penance was the same place where Lord Shiva did penance. After the completion of his penance, Narada became arrogant that he had defeated Kamdeva. He went to Kailash mountain and narrated about his feat to Lord Shiva. Narada was naive not to realize the fact that it happened only because of the divine power of Shiva. Lord Shiva listened to his arrogant statement. He advised Narada not to reveal this secret to anybody. But Narada went to Brahmaloka and boasted about his feat to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma listened to his boisterous statements and advised him not to reveal this to anybody. But Narada was not satisfied. He wanted to give the news of his achievement to Lord Vishnu. So, he went to Lord Vishnu's abode and boasted about his feat of defeating Kamdeva. Lord Vishnu, with a desire to subdue his inflated ego, manifested his illusionary power with the blessings of Lord Shiva. While Narada was returning from Vaikuntha Loka, he saw a beautiful city. This city was ruled by a king named Shilnidhi. The king had a daughter and her Swayamvar was being organized. Numerous kings had arrived to take part in that Swayamvar. Narada curiously entered the place where Swayamvar was being held. The king requested Narada to study the lines of the palm of the princess. Narada was infatuated by the princess' beauty. He returned back to Lord Vishnu and expressed his desire of marrying that princess. He also requested Vishnu to make him as handsome as himself. Vishnu. Lord Vishnu made Narada's whole body very beautiful except his face, which he made like a monkey. Narada, being unaware of this, happily went back to Swayamvar site. Narada sat among the kings, his face resembling like a monkey. Lord Vishnu too was present there. The princess saw Narada, whose face was looking like a monkey. She was amused. Ultimately she put the garland around the neck of Lord Vishnu and went to Vaikuntha Loka along with him. Some of the Shiva's Gan too were present there in the guise of a Brahman. Their names were Marudganas. When they saw Narada to see the reflection of his face in the water. When Narada saw his face in the water, he saw that he was looking like a monkey. He became very furious and cursed the Marudganas to be born as demons, even though being Brahmins by birth. Furious Narada then went to Lord Vishnu and cursed him. You too would suffer due to separation from your wife. During your incarnation of Rama, and the monkey would come to your help. Lord Vishnu accepted Narada's curse without any hesitation. He then removed the illusionary powers by which Narada's mind was influenced. Now Narada regretted his actions. Lord Vishnu told Narada that everything happened because of Shiva's divine illusions. You did not pay heed to his advice, and hence Shiva by his illusions has taught you a lesson. Shiva is beyond the reach of the three basic qualities sattva, rajas and tamas. Therefore you must worship and contemplate on the name of Shiva. All of your sins will be destroyed. After preaching Narada, Lord Vishnu vanished from his sight. Narada then descended down to earth, and while having darshan of numerous Shiva lingas, he saw two of the Marudganas, whom he had cursed. He told both of them that they would take birth from a giantess's womb, but their father would be sages. He also told them that they would become very famous due to their devotion. Narada went to Lord Brahma and requested him to tell about the divinity of Shiva. Brahma preaches Narada on origin of Vishnu and Brahma on Narada's request. Brahma said, during the period of Mahapralaya, final annihilation, nothing exists except Shiva. The power which Shiva manifested from his own self came to be known as Ambika. This Ambika is understood to be the cause of the whole world as well as the nature. Lord Shiva then created a Shivaloka, which is known as Kashi. It is the abode of Shiva and Parvati. A man who makes a pilgrimages of Kashi attains salvation. Lord Shiva felt the need of somebody who could look after the creation in his absence, as he wanted to retire along with Ambika at Kashi. The unified energy of Shiva and Ambika resulted into a radiant physical form of a child. The child asked Shiva about his name and purpose of his being. Lord Shiva named the child as Vishnu and advised him to do a penance which would help him to attain all kinds of accomplishment. He then offered him the knowledge of Vedas through his breath. For this reason it has been said, Yasyanishvasitam Veda, meaning, whose exhaled air is Veda. Vishnu followed the instruction of Shiva and did a tremendous penance for 12 years. But still he was not successful in having a darshan of Lord Shiva for the second time. He became worried. He heard a heavenly voice instructing him to do further penance. Vishnu then recommenced his penance. It continued for many days. By the blessings of Shiva, numerous fountains of streams erupted from his body, which spread in all directions in the form of Brahma. Vishnu was very pleased to see that stream. He went to sleep in that streams, due to which he also came to be known as Narayan, one who has his abode in the water. After that, all the 5 elements manifested from his self. The 3 qualities Salva, Rajas and Tamas as well as the ego manifested from his body. Similarly, 5 Tanmantras, subtle form of matter, Panchabhuta, sky, water, air, fire and earth, and ultimately 5 sense organs and 5 organs of action also manifested from. Altogether 24 types of element manifested from the body of Sri Vishnu. Brahma told Narada, while Vishnu was sleeping in the water, a lotus flower manifested from the navel of Vishnu according to the wish of Shiva. On that lotus was seated with 4 heads. I did not see anything except that lotus flower. I had a desire to know about my identity. So I entered into the hollow tubular stalk of that lotus flower, but I was not able to find the source. I returned back to the same place. Suddenly I heard a voice which instructed me to do penance. I did a tremendous penance for 12 years with a desire to know about my Creator. Being pleased with me, Lord Vishnu manifested before me within his Chaturguj form, but I could not identify him, being influenced by the illusionary power of Shiva. I quarreled with him. Shiva ends Brahma Vishnu dispute and Shabda Brahma. I asked him as to who he was. Vishnu replied that he was the fulfiller of all of his desires. But I replied to him that I only was the creator, nurturer and the supreme soul of this world. Vishnu became angry and said that undoubtedly I, Brahma, was the creator of this world, but he, Vishnu, was the one who had created me, Brahma, and the whole world. Vishnu also ordered me to take his refuge and promised to protect me. But being an ignorant, I did not believe him. A fierce battle was fought between both of us. A Shivalinga manifested between us to end the battle. We requested that Shivalinga to show its real identity. That Shivalinga had destroyed our pride. We heard a sound We became curious to know the origin of that sound. Vishnu saw a letter, A, towards the south of that Shivalinga. He also saw the letters, U, and M, centered towards the north of the Shivalinga and in its center respectively. He also saw the mantra, Om, which was dazzling like a sun. There was no beginning and end to this mantra Om. As we were making efforts to know about its origin, suddenly Shiva appeared in the form of a sage. He gave us the knowledge regarding He also revealed to us that I originated from the letter A, Vishnu originated from letter U, and Shiva himself originated from letter M. The letter A signifies creation, U signifies nurturement, and M signifies salvation. The three letters A, V and M also symbolize the basic causes of creation. A or Brahma also symbolize the semen, U or Vishnu symbolize the vagina, and the sound of is Maheshwar, the combined sound of A, U and M. All the three united, from which manifested a golden egg. This golden egg remained submerged in the water for 1000 years. The Almighty then cut that egg into two halves, from which appeared heaven and earth. We also saw the divine beauty of Maheshwar. Then we saw all the vowels and consonants emanating from the physique of Mahadev. Vishnu saw the 48 letters within Omkar, which in fact were the two following mantras: Tat Purushaya Vidyaman He Mahadevaya Dhimahi, Tanno Rudra Prachodayat. And Tat Savita Varenyam Bhagon Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yuna Prachodayat. After that we also received the Mahamrityunjay mantras like Om Jum Sah, Hraum Hrim Jum Sah, and Trayambakam Yajaman. After that we received the 5-lettered mantra Om Namah Shivaya, the Chintamani mantra, Kshamyom, the Dakshinamurti mantra, Om Namo Bhagavad Dakshinamurte Mahyam Megam Prachcha Swaha. At last we received the great mantra Tattvamsi. Vishnu was so enchanted by this mantra that he started chanting this mantra. We then prayed to Shiva, the creator, the nurturer and the destroyer. Shiva became very pleased with both of us. He preached us the contents of Veda. Shiva told Vishnu about the methods by which his, Shiva's, worship could be done. He revealed to us that Vishnu actually had manifested from the left portion of his Shiva's body and myself from the right portion of his body. He also blessed us that he would manifest his incarnation of Rudra from our body, and also that the purpose of this incarnation would be to do annihilation. Lord Shiva revealed to us that his consort Uma was in fact Mother Nature, and her power in the incarnation of Saraswati would be my consort. Lakshmi, who would also manifest from the nature, would be the consort of Vishnu. Brahma told Narada, Lord Shiva informed us that my day consists of 4000 eras, and similarly my night too consists of 4000 eras. Since a month consists of 30 days and a year consists of 12 months. In this way my age was fixed to be of 100 years. One day of Vishnu is equivalent to 1 year of Brahma. Vishnu's age too was fixed to be of 100 years. The day of Rudra is equivalent to 1 year of Vishnu, and his age also was fixed to be of 100 years. The methods of worshipping Shiva on the request of the sages. Sutta retold the preaching which had been narrated by Brahma to Narada. Describing the method of Shiva worship, he says, a devotee should get up early in the morning and contemplate on Shiva, who gives benediction. After that, he should finish his daily routing work and perform rituals like Sanjaya and Vandana, etc. After that, he should worship Shiva Linga according to Vedic rites like Panchopchar, Sodshopchar, etc. He should also perform Abhiseka with various offerings. At last, Dha should beg pardon for his sins. Once, Brahma went to Kshirosagar, the abode of Vishnu, accompanied by the deities, and asked Lord Vishnu how a man could be liberated from his sorrows. Lord Vishnu told them that this objective could be met by worshipping Shiva Linga. All the deities then prayed to Lord Shiva, who after becoming pleased instructed, Vishwakarma, to construct a Shiva Linga for them. Vishwakarma then made a Shiva Linga for Kuber, a Shiva Linga of yellow diamond for Dharmaraj, a Shiva Linga of dark-colored diamond for Varuna, a Shiva Linga of indifferent diamond for Vishnu, and a golden Shiva Linga for Brahma. Similarly, Vishwadeva was given a Shiva Linga made up of silver. The Ashwini Kumars were given Shiva Linga made up of bronze. Lakshmi was given a Shiva Linga made up of crystal, sphatic. Sun god was given a Shiva Linga made of copper, and the moon was given a Shiva Linga made of pearl. Brahma has described the following methods for the worship of Shiva Linga. After performing the rituals like Achaman and Pranayam, a devotee should apply a Tripunda on his forehead and wear a Rudraksha on his body. After the study of Shantipath and the performance of Devata Namaskar, he should make a resolution if he has any wish to be fulfilled. Then the worship of Shiva Linga should be done, with the help of Mahimastavan and offering flowers to the Shiva Linga. The purity of the mantras should be maintained while chanting them. It has been mentioned in the Shiva Purana that making offerings in the form of lotus, Shatpatra, Shankapushpi, the leaves of wood apple tree, helps a man in attaining wealth and prosperity. For becoming free from disease, 50 lotus flowers should be offered to the Shiva Linga. Mrityunjay Japa should be chanted for 5 lakh times, for all types of accomplishment. 1 lakh dhatura fruits should be offered for long life, worldly pleasure, as well as for attaining salvation. The origin of Kailash and Vaikuntha. Brahma revealed to Narada how the process of creation commenced. After Lord Shiva vanished from our sight, I transformed myself into the appearance of a swan, and Vishnu transformed his appearance into that of a boar with the purpose of commencing the process of creation. First of all, I created the water. I poured a palmful of water into it, and an egg manifested which consisted of all the 24 elements. This egg was very enormous in size, which made me confused. I did penance for 12 years. Vishnu appeared before me. I requested him to bring that egg to consciousness. Vishnu entered into that egg. As a result of this, Kailash mountain and all the 7 worlds came into existence. After that, the static living things were created, which symbolized the dark quality, tamas guna. After that, I created 4-footed animals like cows and ox, etc. In spite of these creations, I was not satisfied, so I again went into meditation. As a result, the deities were created, which symbolized the virtuous quality, Sattva-guna. Once again I meditated, and the human species came into existence, which symbolized the medium quality, Rajas-guna. With the permission of Lord Shiva, I then created spirits like ghosts, etc. After that, I created my 5 Manasputras, Sanak, Sanatan, etc. But they were so ascetic and detached from the world that they showed their disinclination in contributing in the process of creation. This made me angry. Tears rolled down from my eyes. With the permission of Vishnu, I did a tremendous penance to have a darshan of Lord Shiva. The emergence of Rudravatar and creation. Brahma said to Narada, when I accomplished my penance, Lord Shiva manifested in his incarnation of Rudra from in between the eyebrows. Half of his body resembled like that of a woman, Ardhanarishwar. I requested him help me in my creational activities. Rudra created his hosts, Rudragana, who resembled like him. I requested him to create the mortals, to which he laughed and said that he liberated mortals from their sorrow. So how could he fasten them with bondages? Rudra requested me to create the mortals, and then he vanished. Preaching Narada on the essence of Shivatava, Brahma said, with the permission of Shiva, I created the 5 basic elements from which the matter is made and also all types of arts. I also created the time. Despite all these creations, I was not satisfied. I created sage Marichi from my eyes, sage Bhrigu from my heart, sage Angira from my head, sage Pulaha from my Vyan Vayu, sage Pulatsya from my Udan Vaya, sage Vashishta from my Saman Vayu, sage Kratu from my Apan Vayu, sage Atri from my ear, Daksha Prajapati from my vital air. You, Narda, manifested from my lap. Sage Kadam and Dharm manifested from my shadow. Then I divided my body into 2 parts, and from each of the 2 parts, Manu and Shatrupa manifested respectively. Both of them got married and in this way commenced the conjugal creation. Priyavrata and Uttanpad were the 2 sons born to them. Shatrupa also gave birth to 3 daughters whose names were Akuti, Devahuti and Prasuti. Sage Ruchi was married to Akuti, Sage Kadam was married to Devahuti and Daksha Prajapati was married to Prasuti. Sage Yagya and Dakshina were born to Sage Ruchi and Akuti. Numerous daughters were born to Sage Kadam and Devahuti. Similarly 24 daughters were born to Daksha and Prasuti. Daksha married 13 of his daughters to Dharm. The rest of his daughters were married to sages like Pulastya etc. All the 3 worlds are inhabited by the progenies of these sages. The same Daksha Prajapati had 60 daughters in another kalpa, who were married to sages like Kashyapa, etc. In this kalpa, Sati was one of his daughters who was married to Lord Shiva. Sati, being distressed by the disrespect shown by her father Daksha to her husband Shiva, had given up her life by jumping into the sacrificial fire. In her next birth she was born as Parvati and was again married to Shiva. This way, I created this world with the permission of Shiva. Gunanidhi, the Brahmin's son Narada asked Lord Brahma, when did Lord Shiva make Kailash as his abode and what was the reason of friendship between Shivaji and Kuber? Brahma narrated the following story. There used to live a Brahman by the name Yagajukta in Kampilanga, who was proficient in the performance of Somyagya. He had a son named Gunanidhi. Though he was a scholar but at the same time he was irreligious and kept bad company. He used to indulge in evil activities like gambling. His father, Yagajukta, was unaware of his evil activities. Whenever he asked his wife about Gunanidhi's habits and conduct, his wife used to tell lies and praised the conduct of Gunanidhi. Thus Gunanidhi's condition became worse day by day. Yagajukta married Gunanidhi with a girl belonging to a well-to-do family. But his habits had not changed. His mother tried her best to make him understand, but it was of no avail. One day Yagajukta saw a gambler wearing his ring. He asked him about that ring. The gambler told him that his son, Gunanidhi, had lost it to him in the gamble. He also informed him that he had also lost numerous ornaments and other properties in the gamble. Yagajukta became very angry. He married with another woman after abandoning his wife and son. When Gundi came to know about his father's second marriage, he moved to another place, cursing his fate. He kept on walking till he became tired. He sat under a tree and started thinking about his further course of action. His heart was full of remorse and he repented for his past actions. As his mind was engrossed in such kind of thoughts, he saw some villages going towards temple. They were carrying prasad in their hands. Since Gunanidhi was hungry, he followed them and after reaching the temple he sat at the main gate of the temple. In the night, after the accomplishment of the pujan, the devotees went to sleep. Gunanidhi entered the premise, went to sleep. Gunanidhi entered the premise of the temple. The flame of the lamp was gradually becoming dim, as the result of which he could not see properly. He tore some pieces of cloth he was wearing and made a thick wick and put it in the lamp. Now the light was sufficient to enable him to see whatever had been offered to the deity. He carried as much fruits and other eatables as possible and tried to sneak out from the temple. Unfortunately, he dashed against a devotee, woke up and chased him, shouting, "Thief, thief!" Hearing his cries, all the other devotees woke up and caught Gunanidhi. He was given such a nice thrashing that proved to be fatal, and as a result Gunanidhi died. The Yamdoots arrived to take his soul to Yamloka. But right then, the Shivganas arrived and prevented the Yamdootas from carrying his soul. They informed the Yamdootas that Gunanidhi was entitled for Shivaloka, as he had devotedly observed the Shivratri fast, had listened to the tales of Shiva and lighted up the lamp which was about to go off. The Shivganas also informed the Yamdootas that, in his next birth, Gunanidhi would become the king of Kalinga. In this way Gunanidhi attained to Shivaloka. In his next birth he was born as a son of King Arindam, the king of Kalinga. He was named as Dama. When he was still young, his father Arindam dies. So Dama succeeded him as the king of Kalinga. He renovated all the Shiva temple, which came under his jurisdiction, and passed a decree which made the worship of Lord Shiva compulsory for all the subjects. By the blessings of Lord Shiva, he became the king of Alkapuri and was known as Kuber. During the Padma Kalpa, sage Vishrava was born to sage Pulastya, the Manasputra of Lord Brahma. Vishrava's son, Vishravan, ruled over Alkapuri for a long time. This city was constructed by the deity Vishwakarma. Vishravan was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. During the Kalpa named Meghvahan, Gunanidhi did a tremendous penance for 10 lakh years. As a result of this penance, his body was reduced to skeleton. Lord Shiva became very pleased with him and appeared before him, accompanied by his consort Parvati. He told Gunanidhi to ask for any boon, which will be fulfilled. When Gunanidhi heard Shiva's voice, he opened his eyes, but his eyes were dazzled by the sheer radiance of Lord Shiva. He requested Shiva to restore the power of sight in his eyes. Shiva blessed him, as a result of which he was now able to see the divine sight of Lord Shiva. But he became jealous of Uma, who was present by the side of Shiva. He was wondering as to who was this lady, dearer to Shiva than him. He glanced cruelly towards her. As a result of this, his left eye lost the power of sight. Parvati asked Lord Shiva as to why was this sage, Gunanidhi, looking cruelly towards her. Shiva replied, "He is none other than your son. He is looking at you in astonishment as he is bewildered at the feats achieved your penance." Lord Shiva then blessed Gunanidhi to become the king of the kings. He also assured him that he will always be present in the vicinity of Alkapuri. After being blessed by Shiva, Gunanidhi also made salutations to Parvati. Parvati said, "Since you have looked at me angrily, your hatred and enmity, towards me was clearly visible. For this reason you will be known as Kubers." After blessings, Gunanidhi both Shiva and Parvati to a place called Vashveshwar. Kailash mountain was situated near Alkanagri. Shiva goes to Kailash when Rudra, the Ansha of the Almighty Brahma, heard about the tremendous penance Kuber was doing. He started to play his damaru, drum, the sound of which reached all the three worlds. Rudra then reached the place where Kuber was doing penance. Hearing the sound of his damaru, all the deities including Brahma, Vishnu and Sadashiva appeared before him. When Kuber saw Lord Rudra before himself, he offered his seat to him and worshipped him. He also worshipped the other deities. Rudra was so pleased with Kuber that he decided to stay near him. He called Vishwakarma and ordered him to conduct his abode at Kailash mountain, so that he could live in the vicinity of his great devotee Kuber. Kuber constructed a beautiful city as per his instruction. An auspicious moment was chosen and Shiva went to live at Kailash mountain. He was coronated by the deities. Brahma in this way told Narada about Shiva's departure to Kailash mountain. Sati Kand. In the Sati Kand of Rudra Sanhita, Narada inquires Lord Brahma about the reason why Lord Shiva married Sati, in spite of being a yogi. He also requested Brahma to tell how Sati became the daughter of Daksha Prajapati and in her next birth as Uma the daughter of Himalaya. How did Uma get Lord Shiva as her husband? Asked Narada. Lord Brahma narrated the following tale. A girl by the name of Sanjaya manifested from my being. I was amazed by her heavenly beauty. Right then a divine entity appeared before me, whose beauty could not have been matched even by the deities. He was Kamdeva, the god of love. He influenced me to such an extent that I forgot that Sanjaya was my daughter and got infatuated by her. When Rudra came to know about my lust for Sanjaya, he admonished me and ridiculed about my character. I felt ashamed. But I also became jealous of Rudra. I decided to influence him with the power of infatuation, but I was unsuccessful in my attempts. I remembered Lord Vishnu and he tried to make me understand about the futility of my attempts, as according to him, Vishnu, Rudra was beyond the reach of any human emotions. But I instructed my son, Daksha, to help in the procreation of a girl child from the womb of Ashwinivarini. Thus Sati was born. Sati later on became famous of Uma and got Rudra as her husband on account of her tremendous penance. Though Rudra was free from all kinds of attachment, but still he became so influenced by the desire for procreation that he married with Sati. He enjoyed a blissful married life for a very long time. Rudra father-in-law, Daksha in his arrogance started condemning his son-in-law Rudra. Once, Daksha organized a grand yagya ceremony. He gave invitation to everybody except Rudra and Uma. Despite of Rudra's disinclination to allow Sati to go to her father's yagya, she insisted and ultimately she was successful in convincing Rudra to allow her to go. When Sati reached there, she was not given respect by her father Daksha. Not only this, Daksha made fun of Rudra. Feeling dishonored, Sati gave up her life by jumping into the sacrificial fire. When Rudra got the news of Sati's death, he became extremely furious. To take revenge, he created Virbhadra from his locks of hair. Virbhadra went to Daksha's place and destroyed his oblation site. He severed Daksha's head. All the deities became afraid and prayed to Rudra to have mercy. Rudra then brought back Daksha to life and helped him the accomplishment of the still incomplete yagya. The site where Sati had died later on became famous as Jwalamukhi Devi. The same Sati in her next birth was born as Parvati to Himalaya. By her tremendous penance she again got Lord Shiva as her husband. After that Lord Brahma told Narada about the manifestation of Kama, the god of love. Manifestation of Kama, WHO is cursed by Brahma. When I became infatuated by the divine beauty of Sanjaya, my infatuation resulted into the manifestation of my another Manasputra named Kamdeva. His beauty and qualities were incomparable. His manifestation not only inflicted me with lust, but also my other Manasputras became filled up with lust. Kamdeva made salutations to me and asked as to what was his name and purpose of being. I gave him the name, Pushpavan, and instructed him to help in the process of procreation. I also blessed him that nobody would remain unaffected by his influence, including myself and Vishnu. After being named by Lord Brahma as Pushpavan, Kamdeva was also given various names as Manmath, Kama, Madan etc. by sages like Marich, etc. They also said to him that he would be married to Rati, the daughter of Daksha. Kamdeva himself was infatuated with the beauty of Sanjaya. To test the authenticity of Brahma's boon, Kamdeva took out his 5 arrows and wanted to examine their power. The names of their arrows were Harshan, Rochan, Mohan, Shoshan and Maran. These arrows had effect on all the people present there, including Lord Brahma and Sanjaya. Getting affected by those arrows, 49 types of thoughts emerged in Brahma's mind. Similarly, flaws were clearly visible in Sanjaya's behavior. Kamdeva became convinced of his powers and capabilities. But Dharma, the Manasputra of Brahma, was saddened by this event. He prayed to Lord Shiva. When Lord Shiva saw the condition of Brahma, he became amused and made fun of him and his Manasputras. Everybody was ashamed. Due to his shame, Brahma perspired profusely. From his perspiration were created the Pitraganas. Similarly, from the perspiration of Daksha Prajapati was created the most beautiful woman Rati. Brahma was very angry with Kamdeva, because of whom he was ridiculed by Shiva. He cursed him and said, "You would be charged to death by the arrow of Shiva." Kamdeva became very scared and said that he was only testing the authenticity of his boon and he had no other evil intention. He also requested Brahma not to curse him. Feeling pity on him, Brahma consoled him that, although he would definitely get killed by the arrow of Shiva's sight, yet he would regain his physical body as soon as Shiva gets married. Lord Brahma then went to Brahmaloka. Daksha requested Kamdeva to get married with his daughter Rati. Kamdeva was very pleased at this proposal. Both Kamdeva and Rati got married. Sanjaya does penance and gets boon from Shiva. Sanjaya was very ashamed of herself. For the atonement of her sin, she decided to do penance. She went to Chandrabhaga mountain and commenced her tremendous penance. Lord Brahma then instructed Vasishtha to go to her in disguise and help in getting her initiated. He went to Chandrabhaga mountain in the guise of a Brahman and gave the mantra, Om Namah Shankaraya Om, to her, and also told her the methods of doing worship. Then he returned back. After sage Vasishtha, who was disguised as Brahman, went away, Sanjaya did penance as per his instructions. After the passing of one Chaturyuga, she had a darshan of Lord Shiva. Shiva, being pleased by her devotion, asked her to demand anything. Sanjaya said, "Nobody should have lust towards the member of his own clan. There should be no virtuous and chaste woman greater than me in this whole world. Anybody other than my husband who looks at me with evil intentions become an impotent man." Lord Shiva blessed her by saying, "Eva Manstu." Lord Shiva then categorized the lifespan of a man into 4 parts: childhood, adolescence, youth and old age. He then told her that it was written in her destiny to die by burning. He also advised her to go and surrender her body in the sacrificial fire of the Yagya, performed by male Tithi. Before jumping into the sacrificial fire, just remember anybody whom you want as your husband, and your wish would be fulfilled in your next birth, when you would take birth as a daughter of Daksha Prajapati. Your father Daksha Prajapati would marry his 2720 daughter to Moon, but the Moon would have affection only towards Rohini, and rest of his wives would be neglected by him. For this reason he would be cursed by Daksha. All the deities would take your refuge. After blessing Sanjaya in the way, Lord Shiva went back to Kailash mountain. Sanjaya born as Arundhati and marries sage Vasishtha. When Lord Shiva went away, Sanjaya got up and went to the place where Tirtha was performing his yagya. She made a mental resolution to have that Brahman as her husband, who in reality was Vasishtha, and then entered into the sacrificial fire. The fire of the yagya burned her body and carried it to the solar system, where it was divided by the sun god into 3 parts and established in his chariot. The names of these 3 parts were Prata Sanjaya, Madhyanha Sanjaya and Sayam Sanjaya. Sanjaya's vital force was absorbed by Lord Shiva. When the yagya ended, the sages were surprised to see the presence of a girl, who was radiating like gold in the sacrificial fire. They took out that girl child from that yagakunda. The sages then brought up that girl with love and affection. She was named Arundhati. When she attained the age of 5, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh arrived and married her with Vasishtha. Arundhati enjoyed a happy life and became famous for her chastity. Brahma told Narada that since the day he was humiliated by Shiva, he had grudges against him and wanted to take revenge. I wanted to subdue the arrogance of Shiva by proving it to him that even he could be binded by attachment. I asked Daksha and sages like Marich as to how this feat could be achieved. As a result, Rati and Kama manifested. I instructed Kama to influence Shiva by his powers. Kama agreed but requested me to create a suitably divine woman for Shiva. Myself and Daksha became worried, and during that time we exhaled fragrant air through our nostrils, which resulted into the creation of spring season. The spring season was looking divinely beautiful in her physical form. I handed over her to Kama, and thus all the 3 of them, spring season, Kama and Rati, went to influence Lord Shiva, who was in his deep state of meditation. Creation of Morganas and Kama's futile attempts. Kama tried his best to bring Lord Shiva under his influence. All the living creatures were spellbound by his powers except Lord Shiva and Ganesha. Kama returned back to Brahma and told him about his unsuccessful attempts. Brahma sighed heavily. From his sighs were created the ferocious Ganas. These Ganas were shouting, "Arai Marai, kill. They even tried to attack Lord Brahma. Kama then pacified the anger of these Ganas. These Ganas were named as March. Lord Brahma then sent these Ganas to Shiva along with Kama and Rati to give it a second try. Once again their attempts went futile. All of them returned to Lord Brahma and expressed their inability in influencing Shiva. Lord Brahma then remembered Vishnu, who appeared instantaneously. Brahma revealed about his intentions to him. Lord Vishnu told him that it was foolishness on his part to have enmity towards Shiva. But when Lord Brahma kept on insisting, he revealed to him that this could be only achieved by the blessings of Goddess Parvati. Lord Vishnu said, "If she becomes pleased with you, then she could help you in achieving your goal by taking birth in a human form and having Shiva as her husband. Instruct Daksha to do penance so that Parvati takes birth in his house." Durga born as Daksha's daughter Sati. After Lord Vishnu went away, Lord Brahma started meditating on the form of Goddess Durga. She appeared before him. Lord Brahma said, "I need your help in binding Shiva with your Maya." Goddess Durga told Brahma that Lord Shiva in his incarnation of Rudra was beyond the reach of any kind of Maya. But when Brahma kept in insisting, then Goddess Durga agreed to help him in his effort. She said, "I will take birth as the daughter of Daksha Prajapati and try to please him by my penance." After assuring Lord Brahma, she vanished. Lord Brahma too went to his abode. With the permission of Lord Brahma, Daksha did penance for 3000 years. As a result, goddess Jagdamba appeared before him. She blessed him by saying that she would take birth as his daughter and by her tremendous penance would attain Rudra as her husband. But she warned Daksha that if he showed any kind of disrespect to her, she would end her life. With the permission of Lord Brahma, Daksha Prajapati created many things just by his mental resolution. But finding the absence of any kind of evolution and development in them, he went to Brahma to take his advice. Brahma instructed him to create by the help of copulation. Daksha Prajapati then married Asikti, the daughter of Panchajan. 10,000 sons, including Vyasa, were born to them, but all of them were directed by Narada to follow the path of salvation. After that, Daksha married Panchajani, from whom were born thousands of sons, but all of them followed the path of salvation and were not interested in creation. Narada was instructed in changing their mind. Daksha Prajapati became very furious with Narada and cursed him to become an eternal wanderer. He said, "You will never remain at a place for long." When Lord Brahma came to know about Daksha Prajapati's anger towards Narada, he went to him and cooled him down. Subsequently 60 daughters were born to Daksha. He married his 10 daughters with Germ, 13 daughters with Kasyap, 27 daughters with Moon, 2 daughters with Bhutangiras, 2 daughters with Krishashva and the remaining 6 daughters with Garuda. Daksha mediated on the form of Bhagavati, and was instructed by her to do penance. Daksha did a tremendous penance and thus was born Uma to Daksha and Virani. Uma was brought up with great love and affection. Uma used to worship Lord Shiva by singing devotional songs in his praise. Sati does penance. Shiva marries Sati. When Sati attained marriageable age, Daksha started worrying. Sati understood the reason behind her father's worried. She went to her mother Virani and expressed her desire of marrying Lord Shiva. Her mother made all the arrangements so that Sati could worship Shiva without any problem. Sati commenced her austerity named Nandavrata, which continued for a year. Being impressed by her austerities, all the deities descended down from heaven to see her. All the deities and the sages requested Lord Shiva to get married, but Shiva did not want to curtail his freedom by getting married. When the deities insisted, he told them to find a suitable match for him. Brahma and Vishnu told Shiva about the tremendous penance Uma was doing to him, Shiva, as her husband. They also requested him have to go to her, Uma, and fulfill her desire. Lord Shiva agreed. After Uma had accomplished her penance named Nandavrat, Lord Shiva appeared before her and asked her to demand anything. Uma, because of her shyness, could not say anything. Lord Shiva knew about her desires, so he said, "You will have me as your husband." Uma's face beamed with joy, but she shyly requested Lord Shiva to keep this proposal before Daksha. Shiva agreed and said, "Tathastu." He then went back to his abode Kailash. Sati narrated the whole story to her parents. Both of them became very happy with this news. Lord Shiva then instructed Brahma to put a formal proposal to Daksha regarding his marriage with Sati. Lord Brahma went and informed Daksha about Lord Shiva's proposal. Daksha was very happy at the proposal. Brahma then came back to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was anxiously waiting for his arrival. When Lord Brahma arrived, he curiously asked about Daksha's response. When Lord Brahma told him about Daksha's approval of the marriage, Shiva was very pleased at this. Lord Shiva proceeded towards Daksha's abode on the auspicious moment of Falgun, Krishna Paksh, and on the 13th day of Falguni Nakshatra. Sitting on the back of Nandi and accompanied by all the deities including Lord Brahma, Vishnu, he reached Daksha's residence. The marriage procession was received by Daksha with great respect. Shiva narrated Sati in an auspicious lagna. Being pleased, all the deities eulogized Shiva and danced in joy. Lord Brahma faces the wrath of Shiva. Daksha presented invaluable things to his daughter Sati as dowry. Similarly, the Brahmins were presented with large quantities of wealth. Lord Brahma was enchanted by the divine beauty of Sati. With a desire to see her face, he put logs of wood which were wet into the Yagni Kunda and poured ghee on them. As a result, the atmosphere was filled up with smoke. Now Brahma removed the piece of cloth which covered her face. He became infatuated by her beauty. When Lord Shiva discovered about his evil intentions, he ran towards him menacingly. Lord Shiva wanted to kill him, but the deities prayed to spare his life. Lord Vishnu eulogized and worshipped him, and only then his anger was subdued. Thus Lord Brahma was forgiven by Shiva. Though Lord Shiva had forgiven Brahma, yet he instructed him to apologize by bowing down his head. Brahma did as he was instructed. Lord Shiva then established on his head. Brahma became ashamed and asked as to how could he atone for his sins. Lord Shiva instructed Brahma that by worshipping him he could appropriately atone for his sins. He then instructed Brahma to go to the earth where he would be worshipped as Rudraksha. Shiv said, "Your worship would help the Brahman in accomplishing every kinds of work. Taking lessons from you, people would not dare to have extramarital affairs." After reaching Kailash mountain, Lord Shiva instructed all his ganas, attendants, not to disturb them, Shiva and Shakti. When all the ganas went away, Shiva and Shakti enjoyed a blissful union for 25 Deva years. When the rainy season arrived, Shakti requested Shiva to make a residence in such a place that they could not be disturbed by rain, etc. Lord Shiva smiled and said, "Dear Sati, the clouds and rain will not dare to disturb if you are present by my side, no matter wherever we live, even if we live on the peaks of Himalayas." Sati requested him to make Himalaya as his abode. Lord Shiva agreed, and both of them shifted to their new abode at Himalaya, where they lived for 10,000 Deva years. Importance of devotion in Kali Yuga. Sati requested Lord Shiva to enlighten her mind by giving discourses. Shiva revealed to her the importance of devotion in the Kali Yuga. He said that the value of knowledge, jnana, and asceticism, vairagya, would diminish to the extent of extinction in the era of Kali, and only devotion would help a man in attaining liberation. Lord Shiva said, "I had burnt the time, Kala, for the benefit of the devotees, with my third eye. For the sake of my devotees, I even abandoned Ravana without any partiality. For the welfare of my devotees, I even instructed Nandi to punish sages Vyasa, who was exiled out of Kashi." Shiva preached on many topics like types of devotion, yantra, mantra, scriptures, etc. Sati's doubt about Sri Rama. Devarshi Narada, who was listening to the divine tales of Shiva, narrated by Lord Brahma with rapt attention, requested him to describe about other characteristics of Shiva. Brahma said, "Once, Lord Shiva, accompanied by Sati, arrived at Dandak Aranya, where Sri Rama was wandering in search of Sita, who had been abducted by Ravana. After walking for some time, Lord Shiva saw Sri Rama and Lakshman. Lord Shiva made salutations to Sri Rama. Sati was surprised at Shiva's behaviors. She asked Lord Shiva about the reason he made salutations to Sri Rama. Shiva told Sati that he, Sri Rama, was his deity and an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. But Sati was not satisfied by this reply. She wanted to test, Whether Sri Rama was really an incarnation of Lord Vishnu or not, she disguised herself as Sita and went to Sri Rama. But Sri Rama recognized her real identity and addressed her as mother. Sati was ashamed but asked Sri Rama as to why did Shiva made salutations to her. Sri Rama narrated the following story. Once, Lord Shiva requested Vishwakarma to construct a grand palace and a magnificent throne for him. When everything was ready, Shiva invited all the deities for the crowning ceremony of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu was requested to be seated on the throne and was worshipped by all the deities including Shiva himself. He assured Lord Vishnu that all of his, Vishnu's, incarnations would be shown respected by his, Shiva's, devotees. Rama was the incarnation of Vishnu. Sati was now completely satisfied. She was also ashamed of herself that she had doubted Shiva's words. She went to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva stopped looking at Sati, as her consort, because she had personified herself as Mother Sita. This fact was even corroborated by a heavenly voice. Now Sati's heart was filled up with sorrows. She followed disenchanted Shiva to the Kailash mountain, where he commenced his meditation and went into Samadhi. She sat down without saying a word. When Lord Shiva came out from his Samadhi, he saw her stare sitting there. He felt pity on her and drove away her guilt and sorrows by giving discourses. Daksha's animosity towards Shiva performs yagya. Once, the sages organized a yagya at Prayaga, which was attended by all the deities. Lord Shiva too had come, accompanied by Sati. He was eulogized and worshipped by all the deities and the sages. Daksha arrived there and after making salutations to Lord Brahma sat down without showing any kind of respect to Shiva. After that, all the deities and the sages came and made salutations to Daksha, but Shiva sat where he was sitting. The ignorant Daksha cursed Shiva that from now onwards his, Shiva's, share would not be kept in the yagya. At this Nandi, the vehicle of Shiva, became very angry and cursed Daksha that from today onwards the Brahmins would fail to understand the essence of Vedas. Lord Shiva then pacified Nandi's anger and both of them went back to their abode. Daksha too went back to his place and started having hatred towards Shiva. Daksha organized a yagya at Kanakal, in which everybody except Shiva and Sati were invited. Sage Dadichi arrived and not finding the seat for Shiva went back, saying that it was impossible to accomplish a yagya without Shiva. Then Daksha commenced the yagya with the assistance of other sages who were present there. When Sati saw all the deities going happily, she became curious to know where they were going. She requested her companion to ask the moon as to where he was going in such a cheerful mood. The moon told her companion that they were going to attend the yagya ceremony, being organized by Daksha. Sati was very surprised at this information. She went to Lord Shiva and sought his permission to go there. Lord Shiva then told Sati that her father did not invite them because of the animosity he was having towards him, Shiva. Sati became very furious and decided to go there to know about the reason why Daksha was performing the yagya without inviting her husband Shiva. Shiva sent Nandi and other Rudraganas as her escorts. If you enjoyed this audiobook, please like and subscribe to be notified of when new audiobooks are uploaded. Thank you for listening and learning. Shanti.